And welcome back to another episode of Mock Draft Mondays here on the High Low Sports Podcast. We are 10 days away from the NFL draft, so we got to do a couple more mock drafts. Pro days are in the books, some top 100 visits are underway. We have some ideas with some of them, but the way this draft is going, anything is on the board. The only thing that seems to be locked in is pick number one with Cam Ward going to the Titans. There is absolutely no reason to believe otherwise, canceling meetings with Shedeur and some of the others. It's going to be Cam Ward number one overall. I don't know what the betting odds are on it, but I'm pretty sure it's a safe bet. Cleveland Browns pick number two, where the draft really begins. Abdul Carter makes a lot of sense. I put him there a lot of times, but we're going to go with Travis Hunter on this pick. I think he's going to be a corner that will moonlight as a receiver for them. I think they're going to use his ability to play both ways, bringing in Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, etc. I don't know if they're going to lean quarterback here. I'm going to go with Travis Hunter for this pick. I think Abdul Carter is still very much alive, but we're going to mix it up with Travis Hunter. Pick number three, the New York Giants. This is where I think they're going to go a little bit off the rails. Brian Dabble, Joe Shane, they need to win right now. Kayvon Thibodeau has been good-ish, but not really great. They spent the house on Brian Burns. Dexter Lawrence is still awesome. I think they're going to look at Abdul Carter here and be like, you know what? Let's just take the best player in the draft. What they did when they won those Super Bowls, they had like the NASCAR package, if we all remember, like four defensive ends across the field at different points just to get after it. I think they'll do that with Abdul Carter as well, because slide different guys around. So I think they're just going to they won't be able to outscore the rest of the NFC East with the Commanders, the Eagles, and the Cowboys when healthy. So they're just going to go get after their quarterbacks. Pick number four, the New England Patriots. I'm going to propose ourselves our first trade of the draft. I do think the Giants could be potential trade back options, but I'm going to say they stand pat. We're going to go with New Orleans, who is known to be a little bit aggressive in their heyday as well. So just ignore some of the compensation stuff here. We're just trying to make it more or less ignore the compensation. The point is New Orleans is going to come up to four, where I think this is where they'll go get Shedeur Sanders. I think if he gets out of those top three, they're willing to climb up a handful of picks. New England will be willing to go back, in this case, with those main elite prospects off the board. Derek Carr might be out for the year with that shoulder injury. He looks like he might miss some time. Kellen Moore knows the value of a really good quarterback. Both he's been with Justin Herbert, Dak, just won the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts. He's going to be looking at Jake Hayner and Spencer Rattler and probably thinking, yeah, this isn't going to cut it. Shedeur can run the offense. You give him Chris Olave. You give him Alvin Kamara. You give him, what's his name? Rashid Shaheed. You give him weapons. I think that is something that could get them kind of back on track. They do have the cheap Derek Carr this year. Next year, the salary cap will spike. But for now, I think they go and get their guy, Shedeur Sanders. Pick number five, Jacksonville Jaguars. It has been Mason Graham a lot of the time. It's kind of been I don't want to say the chalk pick at this point, but I'm almost wondering too if maybe they don't exactly love Mason Graham. They do need defensive tackle. I think they're a live option to trade back here. I think there's a very good chance some of these teams could come up maybe for Ashton Genty, etc. But we're going to go way outside the box here. We're going to say they give Trevor Lawrence another weapon. We're going to give them Tyler Warren, pick number five. Evan Ingram is out. They have Brenton Strange. They have some guys at tight end, but nothing quite like Tyler Warren. So we're going to say they give him a weapon, and we know Liam Cohen, what he did in Tampa Bay, having the tight end suit, Kate Otten. So I think they're going to go Tyler Warren they paid Trevor Lawrence the farm. They might as well try and give him every opportunity they can. The Las Vegas Raiders pick number six. Ashton Genty has been the quote-unquote chalk pick here. I really love giving them Ted McMillan to kind of be that X receiver to complement Jacoby Myers as a Z. Brock Bowers as that tight end slot hybrid. Will Johnson's a very, very live pick here as well. They do need some help on the edge at corner. Running back is so deep this year. I really think there's a chance they could let Ashton Genty slide and try and pick it up later. But for now, we are going to take Ashton Genty at pick number six. Just take the best player on the board. New York Jets at pick number seven. Armin Membo just makes a ton of sense. They need offensive line help. Same with Will Campbell, who I think they have Elijah Vera Tucker, who came out as a tackle, converted to guard, and has been awesome when he's healthy. So I think they're going to go in the same vein with Will Campbell, someone they could put just about anywhere on the offensive line and be effective. Carolina pick number eight. They need pass rush help. Mason Graham would be awesome. Put him and Derek Brown on the field. That good luck running the ball on that. But we're going to say they stick with edge. I like Jalen Walker and Mykel Williams. I think Shamar Stewart's, I think he's going to be an interesting one. He's either going to surprise everyone and go really early, or he's going to drop to like the 30s. But for now, what we will do is we will stick with Jalen Walker to the highest rated edge. Most productive out of Georgia. Carolina just needs somebody to go hit the quarterback to fill the Brian Burns spot, so we'll give them Jalen Walker. New England now at pick number nine. They arguably get something a little more in line with what they were looking for with Armin Membo, the offensive tackle out of Missouri. Arguably first, if not second best offensive lineman on the board. So I'm going to go and give them Armin Membo. And now we have the Chicago Bears at pick number 10. Offensive line makes the most sense here. They still need offensive line. I know they've done a good job as far as filling that need, but I do think with bringing in guys like Joe Tooney, et cetera, they have a little bit of versatility, if you will. They could go few different ways in this one. One area they're okay at. They did bring in Grady Jarrett and Javon Dexter, so Mason Graham might be kind of off the board here. Will Johnson, pairing him up with Jalen Johnson, would make quite the corner duo. Tyreek Stevenson, Kyler Gordon, who they just paid, they'd just completely load up in the secondary. Probably be a little bit overkill. We're gonna stick with offensive line, but I think if maybe Tyler Warren or Ashton Jeanty slips, they could be very live for him. But Kelvin Banks at this spot, I think we'll see almost a run of offensive linemen here towards the back end of the top 10. So we'll give them Kelvin Banks. You got Caleb Williams. You do everything you can to keep him upright. Ben Johnson knows the value of an offensive line, so we're going to say they stick there. San Francisco at pick number 11. Will Johnson's a very, very good option here. Jedi Barron could play a little bit of nickel for them. They can move him around as needed. Mason Graham, obviously, they could use a little bit of help on the defensive line too. Nick Bosa he's kind of the guy, but he is the guy, I should say, but you can move. They need a little more help on the defensive line. Like Jordan Elliott, Kevin Graves, they just need a little bit more help on the defensive line. You know what? We're actually going to do that. We're going to say Mason Graham goes here to San Francisco, pick 11. They just look at the value and they're like, okay, we can plug and play him, and that's a difference maker. Pick number 12 for the Dallas Cowboys. I like Tet McMillan. You have CeeDee Lamb who could play Z, could play outside, works really well out of the slot. Tet McMillan gives you a big body, could put him at the X spot, could play a little bit of that Drake London role. He could be a Z as well as an X, so he has a little bit of versatility there. We're going to go Tet McMillan. Pick number 13. Miami could use a lot. Jedi Barron makes a ton of sense. Malachi Starks makes a ton of sense. We're going to go to safety. We're going to give him Nick Emenwari. Just the versatility he provides. He could be a linebacker, a safety, kind of nickel-ish. People look at his athleticism and think that's all he is, but he's a really good safety who also happens to be an incredible athlete. Derwin James has been his comparison. I don't know if he'll be Derwin James, but I think he'll be a very good pick here in Miami. Pick number 14 for the Colts. Will Johnson was a good option. I would have loved Will Johnson here for the Colts, but they already addressed the secondary a lot. Colston Loveland's a very, very good tight end. That's a big need for him. Jahad Campbell's also sitting there. We're actually going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to say the Colts are willing to trade back, considering that is what their GM is known for, is trading back a lot. Let's go ahead and scroll here. Let me see what I'm looking for. Where are they at? Let's see. Hold on a second. Let me jump out of here. Let me see what pick they're at so I don't have to scroll too far. All right, there we go. Pick number 12. We're going to go ahead and do the trade now. Let me just get that through. We're going to go with Cincinnati. I don't know why I just completely missed them. We're going to say it's just a mild trade. Colts get an extra pick. Cincinnati climbs up just to be safe. They do need to get after the quarterback. They need help on defense. We're going to say they climb up to get Michael Williams, the defensive end out of Georgia. We'll figure out what's going on with Trey Hendrickson, but I think they're going to climb up just a little bit to make sure they get the guy they want. The petrodactyl arms that he has, the freakish talent, I think they're going to go with the very high upside in Michael Williams. 15, the Atlanta Falcons. If I'm them, I am finally addressing the edge position. They have let it go entirely too long. They have ignored it for how many years has it been? We're going to say they go with Mike Green, the absolute outstanding athlete out of Marshall. Arizona at pick number 16. This one, I really like Jedi Barron here for him. Will Johnson's awesome. He should be off the board by now, just the way the draft board has fallen. I'm going to go ahead and say they take Jedi Barron, who could play nickel. He's mostly going to be a nickel safety, Brian Branch-esque. You know what? I kind of talked myself out of it. We're going to give Will Johnson the outside corner. Jonathan Gannon had Darius Slay and James Bradbury at their peak in Philadelphia, so I think he's going to take Will Johnson, an incredible value at pick 16. Pick 17 for the Colts, I think they're once again a trade back option. But knowing the Colts, they love linebackers. Jahad Campbell's very live. He could rush the passer. They could play him across the defense. But I'm going to say they stick with tight end. This is where they'll take Colston Loveland. I think they'll feel more comfortable here with him. Could block a little bit, could split him out. You have Anthony Richards, Daniel Jones. You might as well figure out if either one of them could be an option. So you might as well give them every pass catching option that you could find. So we'll go Colston Loveland to pick 17. Pick 18, we got the Seattle Seahawks. Edge is very much in play. Receiver is very much in play. Matthew Golden make a ton of sense here. Somebody who could burn down the field. What I really like, though, is they need offensive line help. And I like Josh Simmons for sure. I like Omarion Hampton and Walter Nolan. I think would be great fits too. But we're going to go with Josh Simmons. Give him some offensive line help. We saw Gino was under siege last year. You brought in Sam Darnold. You don't want to have the potential seeing ghost situation pop up. So we'll go Josh Simmons. A little bit high drafted. He looks healthy, though, and they need to build up that offensive line. Tampa Bay at pick number 19. They would be giddy if it played out this way. Jedi Barron's an incredible fit here, but we're going to go with Jahad Campbell, the linebacker out of Alabama. Brings you some versatility getting after the passer. Put him next to Levante David. You can emulate a little bit what we had with him and Devin White during the Super Bowl run. So Jahad Campbell to Tampa Bay. 20, the Denver Broncos. And you know what? We're going to go to running back, and we're going to give him Omarion Hampton. Sean Payton loves himself some running backs. You don't have Javonte Williams anymore. I think it's a great fit. You give someone like Omarion Hampton, I think he's a very strong running back to fit in that system. They might even double dip at running back, but we're going to go Omarion Hampton. Denver's just a really well-balanced team overall, so they can do something like that, just taking an outstanding player. Pick number 21, the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is interesting. It all depends on what happens with Aaron Rodgers as well. Like, I could see them very much being in the Jackson Dart conversation here. I just don't know if that's a pick that they necessarily love at this point. So I can also see them being willing to trade back, which is exactly what we are going to do. So we're going to go to Pittsburgh. And we are going to say, let me go and find who I'm looking for here. I do like the idea of the Rams and the Vikings as potential trade-up options. But you know what we're going to do is we're going to go with Detroit deciding to climb up just a handful of picks. Maybe whatever they need to do to just make the trade happen. While Detroit climb up just a little bit. They do need some edge help. They really do. They need to get after the passer. Kenneth Grant and Walter Nolan are incredible fits here. Shamar Stewart could be a lot of fun. I'm going to say they climb up the board to get Walter Nolan. They really got to get after the passer. Aiden Hutchinson's coming back. Get a little bit of an interior push here. Walter Nolan and Kenneth Grant are both awesome. I'm going to say Walter Nolan's skill set, they're going to aim high with him. So we're going to say Detroit comes up to get Walter Nolan, who very easily could go up here as well. There's some picks up here that I may have had some teams reach a little outside for it. We could see 3-4 defensive tackles in the top 20 very easily. It's a good draft for them. Pick number 22, the Los Angeles Chargers. With Matthew Golden still on the board, I think they will rush for that pick. I know Kenneth Grant is right there, and Jim Harbaugh is probably foaming at the mouth to bring in another Michigan Wolverine. They need somebody to stretch the field with Ladd McConkey. They need somebody who can get down the field, and I think Matthew Golden could really take advantage of Justin Herbert's arm strength. We saw that was one of their biggest hangups last year, is just not enough big play opportunities. And that's why I think Matthew Golden here will come in at pick 22. Green Bay at pick 23. This is where I can see Jedi Barron going. They saw what Brian Branch was able to do for Detroit. The ability to play safety, nickel, and move him around the board. Jedi Barron can do a lot of those same things for him. They need secondary help. You have Xavier McKinney, an awesome safety. Jedi Barron gives you another versatile piece in that secondary. Pick number 24, the Minnesota Vikings. I love the idea of Malachi Starks here. I think if Nick Emenwari is the guy who I've been putting here, but since he went earlier, we're going to go with Kenneth Grant. We're going to say they are going to load up on deep. They did bring in Jonathan Allen. Damn, I think I might just talk myself out of it. We're going with Malachi Starks. Losing Cam Bynum, they really need that free safety, if you will, someone who can roam in the back, similar to what Bynum did last year to play opposite Harrison Smith. Pick number 25, Houston. It's got to be offensive line, right? Like, it just absolutely has to be. After what C.J. Stroud went through last year, they traded Laramie Tunsil. We're going to say Gray Zabel, the interior offensive lineman out of North Dakota State. A lot of teams have a first-round grade on him, and I think that he's going to climb up and surprise where he goes in some of the boards. 26, the Los Angeles Rams. Jackson Dart would be very interesting. Sit behind Stafford for a year or two. Offensive line can always use some help, but I do like the Kenneth Grant pick here. They brought in two guys with Jared Verse and his teammate Braden Fisk last year. I think they continue to rebuild that defensive line. You got to stop the 49ers run game. You want to get after Seattle. Arizona, Kyler Murray is going to run around. We're going to say Kenneth Grant to really control the center of that defense. Pick number 27 in Baltimore, and they can't keep getting away with it, but they do keep getting away with it. Shamar Stewart sitting here all the way down here. I think they just take arguably the best player on the board. They don't think twice about it. They just grab him and run with it. Pick number 28 with Pittsburgh trading back. Whatever happens with Aaron Rodgers, I think this is where they will take Jackson Dart. They feel a little more comfortable here. They got an extra pick out of the deal. They can move around in the second round if they want to come up and get some of these guys that might slip out. So we're going to say Jackson Dart to Pittsburgh at pick number 28. Washington at pick number 29. James Pierce is still on the board, and I don't think they will think twice about it. Someone who can just get after the passer. That defense was spotty last year. It got some timely takeaways and had its good moments, but I think they still need to be able to get more stops. And that's what James Pierce will provide flying off of the edge for him. Very, very talented player. Could go much earlier, could go much later. He's one of those that everything after the top like 7 or so players, it feels like they're all very much could fly up or down the board. So we're going to go James Pierce to Washington. Pick number 30, we got Buffalo. Luther Burden makes a ton of sense. Same with Emeka Ibuka. They do need more receiver help. I really think they're going to actually ignore it, though. I'm curious what happens with James Cook, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. There's some really good running back options here I could see them going towards. Offensive line, they have a very good offensive line, edge help, defensive line, corner, safety. They're such a good team. They could go in a variety of different directions. We're going to go with receiver still. This is tough because Emeka Ibuka is awesome, but I feel like him and Khalil Shakir could be very similar. Same with Luther Burden, who does a lot of his work out of the slot, but he can fly down the field. So we're going to give him Luther Burden. We're going to give him the big play option, just somebody who could streak down the field. Even though him and Shakir can both work out of the slot, I think they can make it work. Kansas City, pick number 31. Tyler Booker's there. They need to replace Tooney, who they traded away. They need to rebuild that offensive line, kind of rebuild that offense as a whole. And I think Tyler Booker here makes a ton of sense. And then Philadelphia in the most Philadelphia way possible. Derek Carman, the defensive lineman out of Oregon, just sitting there, arguably the best player on the board. They're also very live candidates to trade back. Like if Jackson Dart was here, I could see them trading back for sure into this area. If someone really likes Jalen Milroe, maybe like if Cleveland really wanted him, I could see them doing it. The Giants as well, but I'm going to say they're going to hold true to here. We're not going to do any last-minute trade back in there. I look at these guys. I feel like a lot of these are going to be good second-round picks. I don't know if anyone's going to climb up for them, though. Receivers, Emeka Ibuka, very good fit there. We're going to say they're going to stand pat. We're going to give them Derek Carman. Awesome defensive lineman. As you can see, some incredible players going into day 2. Emeka Ibuka, Josh Connerly, Maxwell Hairston, Siobhan Ravel, Nick Scourton. This is a very interesting draft where I feel like after the top 10 and through all of the second round, there is a lot of those players have a very similar grade, but so they could go just about anywhere. But this is what we have for our second to last mock draft Monday. The last one will be live on Wednesday, 8 p.m. the day before the draft. The live show with Kelsey and I will both go back and forth for that live draft. Be sure to tune in for that one, see how we ruin each other's picks as well as maybe help each other find some players that we didn't even think would be available. But that's it for this mock draft Monday. Be sure to catch our live show Wednesday at 8 p.m. and follow us on all of our socials. We appreciate y'all. If you made it this far, be sure to drop a like and a subscribe. Helps us out a lot. It's free. You can unsubscribe at any time, but please don't. But either way, we appreciate y'all for hanging out with us, and we'll see you all again next time.